Welcome back. As mentioned in our last lessons, Agile project management provides great solutions for certain types of work. Let's stop for a second and put an emphasis on this. Certain type of work. There isn't a planning or project management methodology that is the best one. There is no one-size-fits-all. Instead, we should think about them as different tools in the project manager's toolbox. When a need for a project arises, the organization will need to choose the most appropriate tool for the specific type of work at hand. If you need to drive nails into a piece of wood, you would probably go for a hammer and not a screwdriver. You get it. So back to the point. Agile methodologies are considered particularly useful for complex work. And note that complex should not be confused with something just difficult or complicated. Instead, it intends work that involves many interrelated factors and many unknowns at the same time. Complex problems can be analyzed from many different perspectives, hence the possible solutions will also be many. Understanding which is the best one in advance and predicting how the various factors will interact is very difficult. Trying to apply a formula or algorithm to such cases will not solve the problem. Hence, creating a plan with a high probability of success is hardly achievable. This is why adopting the so-called predictive planning, where you try to predict and forecast everything in advance, as done in Waterfall, is not going to be beneficial. Instead, the suggested way for complex environments would be to perform adaptive planning, where the plan is gradually developed and updated as the project progresses and uncertainties unveil. In real life, a typical example is the product development initiatives, where a product goes all the way from just an idea or concept through to its realization and finally to its adoption. We need to remember that all products have certain characteristics, functionalities, capabilities, features. In other words, what can we do with this product? How useful is it? What are its limitations? How well does it serve its purpose? Hence, from a project management perspective, the requirements will be mostly linked to these functionalities, capabilities, and features. Keep that in mind, as these concepts will be frequently mentioned in the following lessons. Okay, let's continue. In these initiatives, there usually are a few considerations which make them qualify as complex work. The users of the future product. Often, they do not have experience with the product before it's created. That makes it hard for them to imagine how they will be working with it, and hence define their exact needs, requirements, and expectations. The creators of the product. These can be IT developers, engineers, technicians, artists, designers, or other experts who will be building or manufacturing the product. Working without fixed requirements creates difficulties also on their side. The technology itself. It always includes uncertainties, which sometimes may create a bad surprise for a project manager. Having said that, now is the right moment for us to introduce one of the most widely adopted methodologies designed for such environments and types of projects. Scrum. Scrum emerged during the 1990s as a framework for delivering complex work, such as software development. The methodology, however, has evolved also outside the software domain and has been successfully adopted in other fields. The broader product development, R&D, problem solving, or also in cases when an organization does not have a lot of experience with the given work that is to be performed, such as a pilot project, creating a prototype, or performing an experiment. Scrum practitioners openly acknowledge that the product requirements, or in other words, what the future users want from the product, may vary. As the project progresses, the users or customers may change their perception, their desires, and needs. Not only that, but also other factors that may influence the work in an unpredictable way, such as technology, like we already mentioned. Different coding languages, programs, systems, possible integrations, and other factors make the software world difficult to comprehend when observed passively, from the outside. Hence, the project manager, sponsor, etc. should not try to block this dynamic, but instead follow it to capture all the changes that are beneficial to the end goal, being a product that is useful to its future user. And this is where Scrum would come into play. The name Scrum actually comes from the game rugby and indicates the moment when the teams regroup after a game interruption. The parallel with the sport also highlights that experts with different backgrounds cooperate as a team towards a common objective, as it cannot be achieved if all these professionals work separately. Hence, this cross-functional team works as one, and, passing the ball to one another through a number of short phases, progresses towards scoring, or achieving the goal. Great. Next up, Scrum project structure.